Hi guys, Dave in Texas here, and what you're looking at is a beautiful little Danelectro that I really like it a lot. I mean, it's a beautiful guitar. Now it's made of that plastic stuff they make it out of, but it's got those great lipstick pickups in it. Looks like a little Telecaster, right? Hear that? Isn't that wild? Only problem is, there's the body and here's the head. The head got broken. Oh, ouchie. And this is a good guitar too, guys. It's not a crappy one. This is a pretty good one. It's got real gacho tuners on it. You know, it's a shame this happened to it. But he picked it up broken. He thought he saw a really good opportunity to get a good guitar for real cheap. And it may turn out that way, as a matter of fact. What we're going to do is take this neck off here to start with, okie dokie, and then we're going to get that fretboard off this guitar and put a new truss rod in it. We're going to do quite a lot of work on this guitar and get it back to snuff. And as I explained to him, we're not going to restore this guitar. And there's a big difference between restoration and fixing it, okay? In other words, you will see the work that I've done on it. It will be apparent. I'm not going to camouflage it like you would do a restoration. Of course, it's not going to look like shit, you know, wires hanging everywhere, but it will be put back together again. It will work properly, and it's going to have some filler in it. Just all the pieces are missing. So I've got to cut a few pieces and make a few pieces. I've got to join a few pieces. I have to do some pretty slick stuff on this. And I gave him a really good price on this, so I'll be able to do it. Now, obviously, you could go out and spend, I don't know, a couple $100 on a replacement neck and just bolt it on. But it's not going to be original. It's not a Danelectro neck. These necks are really nice when they're in one piece. But the problem is, first of all, getting one to fit this, because you see it's not made like any other guitar. It's not made like a Fender neck. It's got a really, really wide and long pocket to it for its neck to fit in. And that in itself means more money. More money. And then trying to find one that fits properly, good luck. Because of all the necks I've seen in replacement parts, I've not seen one yet to fit the guitar properly. To fit it 100% like it was made for it. They just don't. You have to have them adjusted. You need to fix them. You need to shim them. You need to do all kinds of things to them. And it'll never fit like the next this fits. It's so tight like it does. Alrighty. Let's see if we see anything on this. Not a thing. No date mark, no nothing but the old truss rod. Nothing in here but a shim. And that's actually not a shim, that's just a piece of tape. But should be a very, very interesting video and a very interesting rebuild on this and repair job. Okie dokie. So, as I put these parts away, hang in there. I'll put that body up too to help me melt that glue off. You can see it's already coming off because of the fracture that took place. But what I don't want to do is damage the fretboard even when it's already been damaged. Here we go. Hang in there, guys, while I heat this thing up. I'm going to be using a spatula knife that looks just like this and putting heat to it as well to get this thing to separate. And it shouldn't take much because it's already apart. So, be right back with the heat. Okay, guys. Well, I've got a couple of problems. I'm looking around for my old metal scale. Old one I've got, and I can't find it. So I'm gonna have to go with a long T square. I don't want to use it. It's kind of counter to what I want to do here, spread the heat of this thing. I don't want to spread it all up and down this T square. It's going to take longer. But I got it set up on a piece of wood, keep my linen from being screwed up. That's a very nice cloth I use for padding on my movable workbench. And what I'll do, I'll put heat directly on this thing, about where the split stopped, if it'll touch. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to do it. I like the weight. Yeah, there we go. Okay, finally got the weight of this thing to press down on this and spread this heat through it. Like that. So, I've got a dry iron on high heat. Alright. Pressing down on a very long scale, which I wish is much shorter. Unfortunately, the scale I've used before is missing, as usual in my shop. And I'll take this knife here and use to pry it loose along with a small chisel, you know, with the pressure on both sides. Get that out. And find the small one. There it is. And use this as well along the sides to get the glue to release. But the main thing is, I want to make sure it's touching it. It's touching all right. But the length of the scale is a problem. It's just really too long. It's going to spread the heat all up and down it. But the nice thing is, it's got a place I can grab it and remove it from the fretboard. But it's going to take a lot longer to get that heat to do its thing. And you can see the iron's going, yes, I'm too high. I'm to temperature. I'm at temperature. I know you are. And it's going to take anywhere from 15-20 minutes to get this thing hot enough to transfer to that fretboard all the heat I want it to transfer. And I may have to dig up a different scale somewhere. I've got one with a cork backing that I use on wood that I don't want to scratch up, but I hate to remove the cork, you know. Of course, I can always buy another cork ruler for scale. And I may end up doing that if this doesn't work. Fun and games in the shop, Days in Texas shop. Oh boy, oh boy, oh joy, oh joy. It's always something weird. Anyway, we'll get a clock on this thing, and 15 minutes later, we'll see how well it's done. Well, as you can see, the old glue's coming off the scale pretty readily with my larger chisel. I still have a residue left on it, so I'm going to take some glue be gone, or go glue, or whatever the hell it's called. Some paper towels and get the rest of the stuff off here. And like I said, what would have happened if I had gone with this scale to begin with, it would have given up that cork and that batting on the cork that held it, as well as this glue would have been all over that fretboard in a trice. And that's what we don't want. That'd be basically just ruining what we're trying to work with. Okay, so I got the gooby gone, the stuff right here, and it's always fun trying to get this thing open. It never does want to open up. And I'm going to put some on this little cloth here, and I don't want this on my table at all. I want it to drip on it. This stuff is nasty. Right now it's all nice and clean. Time to put away the nasty, dangerous stuff. I always got to make sure to close this because it does evaporate like crazy, but it's also very hard to open. So I'm tempted to leave it half open, half closed. But not in my shop, not where there's all kinds of crazy heated stuff all around here. Now, on the fretboard itself, I'm going to lay this across, just like I did before the little one. I'm sorry, the big ruler. A T-square is exactly what it is. But you can see there's a lot less mass I have to heat up. Okay? I'll put this on max dry heat and lay it across this so it's up on the frets, not touching the board at all. And it's on the major part that I need to get hot. And I'm gonna leave it there about 15 minutes. I'll come back and check the progress on this. See what I can do to get that fretboard off of there. I don't want to force it, I want to crack it. I want to be easy and gentle with it. But it should come off and it should continue to progress. Cause it did go down 2 more frets on the glue release just by having on that great big scale. So this should, you know, do a little better job. But about 15 minutes is all you want to run this thing. So hang in there. Okay, we got it to heat again. And let's see about getting all that stuff off here. I don't want to get off first. That is hot. This is all hot. Wow. Okay, come on, glue, let go. Yeah, it's just barely giving up. But it is giving up. Wow, 1 fret at a time, guys. It's breaking free. Those frets are hot. Oh, shit. Alright, I'll have to use something thicker than this to get this off here. But you can see, just barely, it went down 1 more fret released off here. But it is glued very well, just like most good guitars are done. And it's going to take a lot more time to get this thing off here. It's not just going to happen overnight. Okay, so here it goes back on once again. On dry heat only. Wow. This is taking a while, guys. And another 15 minutes is starting right now. So that'll be 1:30. When it's time to remove that. In the meantime, I got other things I can be doing, so hang in there, guys. Okay, here we go again. This time, though, guys, I've got what's known as my deadly hatchet. I don't know why I bought this thing, but it's for taking paint down and spreading putty. And this thing is dangerous. I mean, you can headhunt with this thing. It's so dangerous. Like, damn. And it will cut you guys. If you think about buying one of these for your tool shop, carefully consider it. If there's anything else out there you can use. Oh, it's just hard going, guys. I just don't want to force this. But it is giving it up. Just ever so slowly. And especially on this one side, I got 3 frets. I got 3 frets that have opened up now on this one side. The other's not doing as well for some reason. But it is coming loose. And start a little lower. Get down in there. Oh, God. This other side is just a booger. And why is it causing all the problems? I don't know. And what I'm going to do here in a minute is take another tool I've got and give it a shot to pull it through this width of this board all at once. Even heat it up while it's in the board between it. But let's put it back on the heat and keep at it because it is working. I think center it up more, maybe it'll get that one side. Alright, it's another 15 minutes on the cooker. Whoopsie. Let's don't go direct. Let's go transfer. Alright, that didn't cause any problems. That would have, but it did. Of course, that's what takes longer to transfer this from that scale down to the frets, down to the board, to heat this thing up. But try to make it faster, you're gonna end up cracking the board, and then you've got oh man, you got problems. You got a whole fretboard to replace as well. Cut those frets, you know. Install new frets. Oh geez, lots of tons of double, triple the work. You can't save the fretboard. So another 15 minutes on the cooker. That'll be 145. Hang in there. Okay, another 15 minutes has passed by. We're going to try her again. We're going to lift that little baby off there because it is hot. And we're going to go back at this one and see what we can do on this side. This is the one that's giving me a hard time. And it's still giving me, it's just not breaking free, guys, on this side for some reason. The other side, you can see, is much further down on the frets. I don't get it. I don't want to put a lot of pressure on this thing. I may end up cracking it. It looks like it's about to do that right now. That's a scratch. Alright, well, what I will do to help this thing along, I'll put this scale down at this T-square down it to add some pressure to it while it's heating and see if that's going to help any. Okay, a little bit more balanced. That's about as far as that's going to go, because that one side is just not giving it up like it should give it up. And why, I just don't know. Alright, so now we got pressure on it. Let's see if it's going to help any. Alright, so well, y'all see this rig, guys, it is pretty wild. Oh, whoa. So what I've done, I've used the T-square to help put pressure between the neck and the fretboard, and see if while heating it, that's going to cause it to help give it up. And one side is doing this what it's supposed to do, just the other side is not. Maybe this old iron is just causing the problems, I'm not sure. But it is doing it, it's heating. You know, it's not heating a hell of a lot. But, you know, I can't put it on steam. That would be a nightmare. Okay, let's see. Next time be 1 or 2:15 to get it out of there. Let it finish cooking. So it's slow but sure. Okie dokie. Let's see if that cross beam helped it any. Keep that heat on it. Help spread it. I don't know if it did or not. I sure hope it did, because this is going way too slow, and that is really hot. I don't want to touch that. This is not hot at all. The wood is hot. And it's just not doing it. It's spreading everywhere but that one spot, guys. Gosh, I don't get it. It's going to be plenty of heat to get this thing to open up. I went one more notch down the line on the other side, the tough side. This one went down a full fret too. Alright. Okay, here we go. Another 15 minutes, guys. Let's see, that'll take us to 2:30, so be right back. Alright, once more into it. Let's try her again. After which, I think I'm going to put it directly on the board and see what we come up with, because this has gotten too long, and I'll end up drying this thing out bad. Well, that's not moving much. Damn it. Oh, God. I've got to get past this spot here. I don't want to crack this board. That was like a bad spot. Damn it, it's not moving any further than it was. Well, direct heat. Gotta do something to get it off. What else to do? Let's take this little jewel and put it down the center of it, see what we can come up with. So, my next step, since the iron won't work, is to take my heat gun, alright, heat up this metal piece here, grab it with some towels and try to pull it down. If that doesn't work, I'll heat up my spatula blade and pull it down the line. If that doesn't work, my last resort is to use my God, what do you call this thing? My oh my God Chulu blade from the Chulu Warriors and circumcision tool. Of course, there's not very many of them. They're a very small tribe because of this being a circumcision tool. Not too many people, not too many of the men or boys live through the ritual. Anyway, here we go. Alright, here we go. We're going to try and pull some down now. Of course, I'm using these towels to do it because this is really hot. Wow, it is hot. And it's just barely opening up again. But at least these sides even now. God almighty damn. This thing is insanely glued down. I can't believe they've done this. Holy shit. Well, I'll be doing this on and off. I don't want to get too damn hot. I don't want to damage the fretboard. But this thing is just not coming off. And the simple fact that further down the neck, there's a much larger area to glue up, as you can see. And that's what's holding everything back. This large area starting here is probably completely glued down, all square inches of it. Shit. So, slowly and carefully, I'll be working this back and forth, trying to get it down the line. And hopefully I won't pop any frets loose. But if I do, I gotta replace them and put them back in. So, hang in there, guys, while I work this thing up. Well, I finally got it loose from the damn thing. Take a look. Ta-da! Got the truss rod out, but here's the problem, guys. See that big sliver of wood on there? That broke away when the neck broke. And this thing was all curled up, and I didn't see it. So, we're going to go in there and do some gluing on the neck, and the fretboard too, obviously. And the neck fretboard is weak in 2 spots, and they're going to crack. I know that. And they're going to crack. I know that for a positive fact. Very weak since it was bent. All right. And of course, once you cut the frets in, it gets even weaker. So we're going to do some creative gluing to get the new truss rod in there and build this neck back up again and get this head back on here. So it's going to be some kind of fun. But, you know, it's still cheaper than putting a new neck on. I have to cut the frets, all that kind of good stuff. Hang in there, guys. What I've done, guys, I've gone back and I taped the original, well, the fretboard to the original neck piece, which it still fits. Simply because it's warm, it's pliable right now. It had a big upward bow to it because it had been left broken and unglued about this 1, 2, 3, 4, the 6th fret. It's kind of went and made a big U-turn, and that was kind of becoming permanent. So when it's hot and warm, I've taped it back down to the neck, and hopefully when I remove this tape in a couple of days, it'll be nice and flat again. If not, I have to wet it and start working on the shape of it. And it's really brittle right now. I'm pretty sure there's a couple of spots going to crack because they really went deep with the fret cuts on them. But that happens. So anyway, here we are. It's all taped up and ready to let it sit for a while, let it get its true shape back. And have no more bow in it. We want that bow to go away. What you're looking at is the truss rod that went inside the Danelectro's neck. And you see I put a lot of pressure on it. It's giving a back bow to it. Alright, the kind we hate. I just want to make sure it's still working. Okay guys, we're back working on the little Danelectro, the broken neck piece. And I've got a couple of problems involved. I've got a working truss rod, so I have to replace that for him. But the biggest problem is I really just don't have anything to drill into to add stability to this neck. So what I have to do is fill this with polyurethane, thick plastic basically, and leave it at that. Glue and polyurethane. As you can see, the truss rod comes all the way up to the break point, as well as this neck itself is just not thick enough to drill anything into. If I did, I'd splinter it and it'd go to pieces even worse than it is right now. So unfortunately, this is a bad break, but it will be fixed. It won't be as stable as it should be, or could be, but it will be fixed and it will work, and it won't fall apart. It won't look real wonderful, but you know, he's not paying for restoration, he's paying to have it fixed. So let's take a closer look at all this. So I'll be using premium PL glue adhesive. It's a construction adhesive to glue this thing up with. Tight bond is just not sturdy enough for this. I need something really, really strong to do this job and make sure it stays where it belongs under the stress of the strings. The good news is that I've got you know, a very good platform to glue to as far as the fretboard is concerned, and I do have a piece of inner joins with the brake itself. So it's not as bad as it could be, you know. There are fitting pieces. So once I get the adhesive, I'll show you how I glue that up, and we'll go from there. Okay guys, so back on the little Danelectro, fix the headstock. All I use for a blocking brace is this little chuck here that I use to put frets on. But first of all, I'll tape it all up with painter's tape, keeping that goo off there. I'll put on there. And when I say goo, I mean real goo. This stuff is unbelievably strong when you use on it. It glues anything. It adheres to anything. And this is what it is. It's Loctite Premium, right? Grip, grab, fast grab. So what I'll do is use this nasty stuff and put it on this guitar, push the neck back into position, and then I'll be using these vices to vice it against my chuck, right? This chuck here that fits the neck perfectly, and this to go across the fretboard, right? So I have a perfect grab on this thing and perfect pressure on it all the way through the work up. Okie dokie. Also, I got some odorless mineral spirits, right, to clean that crap up with, because it's unbelievably nasty. Anything extra you get on there, you got to get it off pretty fast, right? Anyway, this should be 24-hour cure up on this, not 48 hours like the regular glues. This stuff Tight Bond won't touch. It doesn't come as close as to being a perfect adhesive as this does. Now, on the fretboard itself, that's what I'll be using Titebond to glue it back to the neck itself. But in the meantime, I got to take this tape off, get the truss rod back in there. The truss rod is bent back to shape. It is perfect as it is, so hang in there. Okay, so you see my chuck here. I got a plastic bag over this. What I want to do is tape the plastic bag to this perfectly and seal that off so none of that nasty glues will get on my chuck and make it nasty to try to work with it later on. But I do want to maintain the shape of this, okay, that nice curvature to act as a support for this neck. So I want to get this down as best I can. Okay, so now I got a plastic bag over my chuck. So when that squeeze out glue is going to get all over my chuck and ruin it for future use. I don't want that to happen. Let's kind of clear the decks here. And what I want to do, guys, is put the truss rod back inside the neck and then use Titebond, right, to glue it back up again for the fretboard only. Okie dokie. As you can see, the fretboard split in two pieces. Now what happened was the top piece had bowed considerably because of the accident, as well as left out to its own means to take on any shape it wanted to take on. So it bowed really considerably, had a nice U shape to it like this. And I was trying to straighten it out the best I could, and that's what I got left with. So I got to fix that crack as well. But that's nowhere near as bad as the neck crack on this guitar. Neck crack is the worst part of the work up and fix up. But anyway, so you'll see what I'll do. I'll use my chuck and this piece here, along with some plastic to cover over this, over the metal. I'll get in here with my grips, my vices, and I'll use that to form a sandwich, so to speak, to get this fretboard back where it belongs. Get that fixed. Of course, I'm left with a fret missing. I got to replace that. I got to make sure. Once I get it all down and set and pressed, it should go back in position pretty readily. So let's put that right along with this other stuff and get on with this job. Now, some people say, well, why'd you take the fretboard off? Well, because it's bent. It's bow-shaped, unfortunately. And part of it was the truss rod was free to run havoc on it. And the other part was it had been left that way, just to bend and flop in the breeze as it pleased. And that's not good. But the thing is, this truss rod does work, okay? And I'm just going to put it right back where I found it. Just like I found it. So hang in there, guys. Alright, so I'm going to glue this in two pieces, I believe, the best way to do this, and fit the second piece on later. Okay, so we've got a thin layer of glue on there right now. We're going to put the rest on there. Once we get the truss rod in place, just like this, I'm going to put a little bit more glue on it. Now that I've got a good position. Make sure you get that wood part in there glued up, because that's what's important. Make sure it gets covered. And then find the spot that break takes place and glue it up. Now know this is above that particular break line, like that. That fits perfectly, okay? Like the glove in there. So that's exactly where that belongs. So let's go ahead and just clamp this up right here. I'll get this extra glue out here in a minute and clamp it down here and one in the middle. Alright, let's get that glue off first. Gotta use some water to get that glue off of there. Any extra, I'm gonna squeeze out before that dries up. Alright, so that's all coming off. I don't want that to move. Okay. I don't want to clean this glue up later. And I'm going to move this grip down a little bit further. It's just too close right now, that edge. Not like that. Alright. Yeah, I still got some more extra squeeze out. So, more squeeze out to get rid of. Y'all can see this. And all this at the bottom that's extra, gotta get that off there. And I'll sand that. Get any of the extra squeeze out of that out of the way. I gotta make sure this is all squared up before I put any more pressure on it. And make sure I got at least some kind of squeeze out on this glue. Otherwise it's not gonna be holding. So let's go all the way down to the bottom of this. Squeeze up there. Yep, there it comes. Now it's coming out. And that squeeze out means that you know, put a good amount of pressure on it to make sure it holds. If you don't have any squeeze out at all, well, my friend, it's not going to hold. Okay, and the last one, I'll have to probably clean that glue off later. Got to squeeze out of the other section. The other side, sorry guys, the other side, squeeze out cleaned up. And I may get some squeeze out of the middle when I put this other clamp on it, but that can't be avoided, and I probably won't be able to get to it, but we'll see. I'm not going to put as much pressure on this because it has that rounded part in the back instead of a flat spot. I went right over that marker. Yeah, it's coming out again. Right like that, okay? So, more squeeze out. I may have to put one more clamp in if I can find a spot for it. Here's all I set up so far. So I got one more clamp laying around accessible easy. I should. We got a bunch of them. What have I done with them? Alright, set that down for a second. Let's see. One of my other clamps. That's a capo, that would work. Why not? Let's go from the other side and put the capo on it. That's a good little squeezer. Okay. I'll tighten this on that. That extra glue out there again. Wow. Alright, now I've got it set up pretty good now as far as clamps are concerned. And it does take 24 hours for that Loctite set. Okay, so guys, I put now on this thing 5 clamps and or 4 clamps and a whatchamacallit. Of course, I got more clamps all over the place. Just no room to fit them. You know what I'm saying? A dozen of these things. Anyway, I have no place to put these things. There's not enough room. So, we'll go with these for 24 hours and see how it sets up. And then the trick's going to be to get this bow out of this damn neck. Now this fretboard. See that bow at the end of it? Damn. I don't know how I'm going to do that. I guess I'm going to glue it and clamp it and wet it before I clamp the top. Maybe put oil on it. See if they will hold, because I'm going to put any pressure on it, it'll crack the darn thing and break it off at the next fret. Well, we got the first one down. Now the trick's the second one, since it's been warped, like I said, at the crack that took place. I've wetted it down. Hopefully this will help to get the darn thing to go proper on the glue up, but we don't know. I want to get that bend out of there as best I can, and it just might not happen. I just can't do a lot about it. If I try to bend it individually, it's going to crack, separate from the board, and split like it did. So what I have to do is just do my utmost to get it in the right position. First of all, to accept that fret, like right there. And that's where it belongs. And I've got to get a clamp on it right this minute to get this thing to stay. And hopefully it'll stay down once this glue up takes place. But you never can tell. And once I finish doing this clamp up job, I'll go ahead and get all that excess glue off there. That's the right distance on that. It looks like it's the right distance on the job. So let's get that glue off there, the extra glue. That becomes a mess. Oh man. And not much way around it. You gotta have squeeze out, otherwise you will not get the job done. It will not tack up right. And I've got to get that one spot there down hard. These others I can put up with the C clamps. Get them clamped up. Okay. These can go every 4 frets, I think will do it. Should do it. I've got to get some bleed out of these, or it's not on there tight enough. There comes the bleed out. Alright. Okay. There's another right there. Just bleed out to take place. And these C-clamps work very well to reach in where I need to reach. Also gets lined up properly. That's about right. Oh man. Well, I got most of the excess glue off this thing. Well, that's a big start help. I've got to find one more clamp. Clamp this thing up at the end. Right here. You can see this or not. I'll move the camera around so you can see all of it. A lot of glue coming out of this end. Okay, so I've got the glue up done. I got the excess coming out that I'm wiping down. A lot of it. These C-clamps do help to be able to move around them much easier than these wood clamps. Or is there all wood clamps? Anyway, take a look at this. She is pretty well clamped up. 5 clamps on this thing should do the job. And it's lined up real nicely. So once that's all taken care of, we can begin the glue up on the broken headstock. But in the meantime, that's going to take 24 hours to cure like the first one did. And that's what's really slowing us down right now. So I had to verify that truss rod was good and working. Okay guys, well here comes the moment of truth. It's time to glue up this head here that I've been working on. Oh boy. And first thing I want to do is guys, all I want to do is get in here and spread this around a little bit on the head itself, keeping it out of the truss rod hole as best I can. And it takes enough to get some crawl back or weep back out of the hole to know that you've got this thing, you know, done right. Have enough glue on it. So that's not the easiest thing to do. As well as I gotta cover this back side too. And my gun is just giving me fits. This stuff is so thick and it's so tacky. The gun is want to shove it out the hole. Like, damn. Either that or I've got some old glue, one or the other. It's just dried out inside the tube some. But it doesn't look like it. It looks like it's about as tacky as it's supposed to be. Should be enough to spread on that. Okay, so I'm going to spread it more on the head. And any excess, I can always, you know, remove that with the mineral spirits. I want to make sure I get enough on there to begin with, so I don't have to go back and shoot glue into this thing. I don't have to. Alright, now I have to go to the fretboard side of this and spread that out some. Get that down in there deep, right beside the truss rod. Sorry guys. I'm doing right beside the truss rod. Hopefully this stuff is going to spread real well when I get the part in there and not give me a hard time. Alright, here we go. Yeah, a lot coming out of it. That's what I want to see. Okay, so now we got the first entrance into it. Get that rag over here. Any extra off that I don't need immediately. Wow, that's just going everywhere. Damn it. Okay. Alright. And I'll probably have to end up taking something to get this extra off here in the glue up spot where I want it to be, as well as for the nut area. In the meantime, I want to get these vices on this thing that I've set up for it and get it in the right position on the stock, on its headstock, which is right there. Sorry guys, I gotta move this out of camera's view to get the headstock to lay over the table. And now for my vices, I'm going to use these two mainly. I'll show you this in a minute guys once I get set up. Make sure this is straight in the body, like that, and like that. Now go in here in just a minute and get this extra off of here. Okay. I want to come a little bit further down on the tightening spot, like right there. That didn't tight. And look for any extra coming out there, which is coming out obviously. Make sure I'm still lined up here as well as lined up there. So I'm lined up really nice and level for the put back or the glue up. And what I gotta do is find a spot I can put this that it won't cause anything to move or press or change direction of the headstock and then glue up badly. But I've got 48 hours to cure up, and once it's cured, oh boy, Trying to get it loose. And maybe I have to go out and get a new neck for it if I can't really get it on there right the first time. Okay, so I gotta put a few more clamps on here tight. I hope these are long enough or wide enough. Got a couple of extra large ones around here somewhere, but mainly only need one more. Go in between those two. And that's not going to cut it, so I gotta go to an extra long one. Extra long clamp I've got to use. Whoops, sorry camera. So hang in there, guys. Alright, now for 48 hours this will sit here and cure up. And as long as I'm careful with it and find a good safe spot to put it in, let it do its thing, there should be no problem. It should go out straight. Now I'm trying to think, where in my shop can I keep people from monkeying with it? Oh boy, it's going to have to go inside my office. That's all there is to it, so I'll know I'll be safe. Okay guys, I got the glue off this and I did a glue cleanup on it with some chisels. These little jewels here I use. Look about like this. Scraped all that excess glue out, and I put liquid wood on this after all. And what I'll do is sandpapers come through and just gently sand this to it conforms to shape. Okay. You can see though the route, the cleanup I did on the nut glue up came out really nice and clean. So you can put a nut in there. He didn't supply me with one, but I've got one I'll have to use to shape this up. But some of this liquid wood will not stay in certain spots. It's just too weak to hold. So what I'll do is when I finish sanding, I'll put a nice, really thick poly coat over this and then thin it down towards the neck. But make it nice and smooth so when you play it, it's not rough or feel odd in your hands. Okay? So the next step on this is to shape that up with sanding and then get the poly coat on there, that real thick, 3 thick goo poly that they have, and make this nice again. The color's gonna be different from this, but that's not the point. The point was to fix this, right? Fix it and play it, and then it won't fall apart again on him. There's a bunch of I got to remove that I did do this so I can sand it back down to shape. Rather than trying to make it to shape to begin with, it's best to do it over it and then sand it back down. Yes, it's added work, and yes, I did put a lot more than I should have put on there, but I do know I can get this to right contours by doing it that way. So hang in there.